We're back, and the good news this week is the Brunson family got a beautiful new puppy. And, of course, we can't come up with a name. And there's still no name for this show yet either, but Chad Grier is here to talk about the big win against Whale Branch.
You're not even going to try?
Not even going to give it a...
The last 2 weeks have been really bad, but I'd like to at least try.
They keep getting worse. So, you know the first rule of holes?
Of what?
The first rule of holes.
Holes?
When you're in one, stop digging. I think that's where we find ourselves.
No more digging.
So, speaking of digging, man, the game in the mud in Whale Branch was something special to behold from on top of the press box. I know on the field. At the end, I said to Brian Powell, I can't wait to find out if these players are going to say this was the best game ever or the worst game ever. And at least the one I talked to the most said it was the best game ever. What do you think?
I think they had a lot of fun. I got to ask you, though, that sounded like you're John Bacinda. From the press box, it was a game to behold. I mean, wow. That's good stuff. Do you talk like that at the law office?
I do. That's the way I speak at all times.
Is that your only jacket? You wear it every week?
No, I don't. I have.
Let's go back and check the archives.
No,
because that's the one I got at Walmart. It looks just like that. And I'm telling you, wear it every week.
Well, of course, that's where I got this one too. And maybe I'll. But if I bought another,
did you get the pants to match? The whole
This
suit?
is the jacket that kind of goes with the whole land shark thing.
Oh, right.
So it's all. I made this investment for the team.
Thank you for that.
Back to football, Coach. Your thoughts on the team's performance in the marshes at Whale Branch?
Incredible. So great, man. I was it was the most fun I've had at a Monday team meeting just because there's so many great things to talk about. I mean, the kids have just every week you think that, man, they've done something that is special and you want to celebrate. But that whole week leading up to it, I mean, we had a really tough practice Tuesday in the pouring down rain, freezing cold. Worse conditions really than it was at the game Friday night. And our field is very similar, frankly, to what we played in. So that really wasn't as big a concern to me because they're used to that. But the way they handled the game Friday, I mean, we talked about it's got to be real. And I think our kids genuinely were excited to go compete. And we watched Whale Branch kids come out, and they were trying to show some energy, but I wasn't sure once the game started if they really were excited about playing that stuff or not. I think our kids were, and I think it showed. and I think, too, that just over the entire year, we just do a great job of dealing with adversity and overcoming it, and not just the weather. I mean, right before kickoff, I found out that, Mickey's not going to be able to play, and he's been battling some illness and sinus infection stuff, and Zach Champagne has to step up and play center. So a sophomore against a very good defensive line and atrocious conditions to have to snap the ball with that kind of pressure. And man, he did a great job. Jordan Jackson's been trying his best to be healthy for 3 weeks. He was still so sick. We just said you got to hold you out, especially in this weather. So he didn't play. And Carson Arnold's been battling a little neck and shoulder stinger situation for a few weeks, and same kind of thing. Just felt like the right thing to do for him was to hold him out. So Rep Powell had to step up, and King Deloney in the secondary. So 3 guys just had to come and and step up and make plays in a very tough environment in a big playoff game, and they did. And just a lot of cool things were going on.
Rhett Powell really had a heck of a game, big interception.
That was huge, and I mean, but more than that, he just played
all over the field.
He was all over the place, man. He was our linebacker of the week, deservedly so. Again, putting the starting lineup. I mean, he started some. He plays a lot. He's a big part of our team, regardless. But I mean, and again, that situation, a sophomore, in that kind of environment against a running-oriented team, he's a downhill player. He was physical. He was tough. He was head to toe. Now, I mean, he took his helmet off, and it was like he had put mud on his face. I mean, he was a mudder. He looked the part. Throwback player. Just played a great game.
You're a pretty old guy, almost as old as me. You've been coaching a long time. Have you ever coached a game where the ratio of runs to passes was as extreme as it was in this game?
Maybe the inverse, but never.
That's right. Not your style at all.
No, and it was fun. At first, it was going into it, I felt like even watching pregame, I thought Coach Robbins just did such a great job, and Coach Hill with our tight ends and H's. But in pregame, I heard Robbins talk to him about telling the boys, you got to get your footing first, and I'm looking at going, how? I mean, good. It's easy to say. I mean, I was slipping around walking across the field, and I had on big, thick boots with, tractor tire traction on them. And the kid, just to see them come out in the game in those conditions and not just keep their footing, but move people off the ball and drive them downfield. I think we had about 9 or 10 pancake blocks, and our edge players blocked the edge really, really well. And then, you can't say enough about Keegan. I really have just run out of. I don't even have any more vocabulary.
What else can you say?
About how great a player he is.
And how many carries did he have?
35, which is an absurd amount. And the kid never gets tired. He never. I coached Cade Carr. He's a starter at Wake Forest, and he's a 215-pound bowling ball. One of the really the best running back I've coached, I would say, until Keegan. I'm pretty sure now Keegan is might be the best I've ever seen on a consistent basis. He just even Cade, there's one game I gave it to him more than 30 times. I think he'd have liked to have had it that many times. He's a competitor, but it's a lot. He'd say, hey, I need a blow. We'd rotate, but Keegan's never asked to come out. He's never asked for a playoff. He just says, bring it. I mean, there's times to look over and he's feeling it, and he'll just be like, let's go. I mean, and you know what?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to make that decision. Okay, let's give it to 5.
Yeah, he can make you look like a brilliant coach.
Oh, man, no question.
I'll tell you, one of the more fun things I enjoyed about this game was just watching Miles Castaigne. He was having so much fun out there and was so animated and showing a lot of leadership.
That's who he is, and he's a fun, happy, just a great young man, and I'm so proud of what he's accomplished. There's another story, there's so many. That's why I take so personal sometimes when people try to throw shade at us. They don't know us, they don't know the kids. They want to throw shade at the Ocean side, or the Charter, or me, whatever. But they don't know Miles Castaigne, and they don't know that nobody can pronounce his name correctly. It's not Castaigne, it's Castaigne.
Now you tell me. I mean, we're 2 games into the playoffs.
Okay.
I only say his name about 20 times a broadcast.
But when I met that kid, he was in school here in
Castaigne?
Castaigne.
Okay.
And his brother's Timmy. Spelled the same way.
I'm really sorry, Miles.
His brother's name is
mispronounce your name.
Timmy Castaigne. Spelled the same.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
No, it's actually Castaigne too. I just want to see if you believe me. It's both Castaigne.
I believe everything you say, Coach.
Clearly. So we're walking in the hallways, and I see this big kid, and I'm like, "Who is that kid?" And they say, "This Miles. Doesn't play sports. He's a student here." I'm going to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru for somebody else, of course, just grabbing because I don't eat fast food.
Dangerously close.
And he's working there. Then I come to find his mom's working there. And so we start having these conversations. Anyway, get him to come to the weight room. He weighed about 295 pounds, and it was gregarious.
And you didn't pronounce that one
just
right.
a happy, hardworking guy. But, try to shorten the story a little bit. He gets out to spring ball, and he's a great player for about 3 or 4 plays. Then he's, that's all he had. No more gas.
Yeah.
Found out he was like getting up at 3 in the morning. His mom was driving a school bus and then working Chick-fil-A, and he's working at Chick-fil-A and trying to get his schoolwork done. And she was a great mom, and she's like, "Hey, buddy, if your grades aren't right, you're not playing." And I mean, we just and people in the school have been great working with Miles, and he's really matured and grown up. And then he got in the weight room. He lost about 45 pounds and has these great feet, and now never wants to come off the field. He's one of the few guys that plays both ways, that could play every snap both ways, and he does it with great energy and passion and physicality, and just it's hard to be. There's so many kids I'm so proud of what they've done and what they've accomplished through the program over their time in it, but he's certainly at or near the very top of the list with just what he's done. Really proud of Miles.
You touched on playing both ways, and of course Miles plays both ways, and some others do. We'll get to that in a minute. But how big of an advantage is it for Oceanside to have the depth that you do when you're playing these teams who are playing their best athletes are all playing both ways?
No, it's huge, I think, and it's something we recognize. And it wasn't always like that during the our non-region schedule. When we got to region, clearly became an advantage. And then, even as we go to the playoffs, I'm a little surprised that it still is. But, we've made a point to not developing kids in our program is a huge thing. I mean, so what varsity coaches working with JV guys, we train them the same way. The weight room's the same. The speed training's the same. The individual skill training is the same in terms of practice time. In fact, we were talking yesterday about how much easier it is on coaches right now to not have to coach a JV team and a varsity. Practices are so much easier. They're faster. I mean, just on an individual basis per coach, the stress level is so much less. You can see so much more focus and spend more time. But the the investment we're making, we're reaping the benefit because we're getting so many more kids prepared to play, and we can play. We don't just have to say, all right, who's our 11, 12, 15 best athletes and put them on the field. We're actually teaching kids how to play positions, and we play an offense and a defense with very few crossover. A kid like Miles just, we're cross-training our linemen for depth purposes, and he just stands out on both sides, and he has to play both ways. So, but it's a huge advantage to be able to do that. It's been a luxury that we've got so many kids that want to play ball. It's not a you've seen a roster. I mean, the joke at the 7-on-7 was, did we show up for a spelling bee? I thought that was pretty funny. We don't always look the most intimidating get off the bus, but we got kids that have bought in and to the culture, and they've learned how to play the game, and we want to put them on the field. So it's a big advantage.
So one of your two-way players, of course, is Joey Boylston, the senior, who's also a standout in lacrosse and one of the leaders on the team. And I understand Joey's going to be out for the season.
We're hoping not.
Well, that's the best news I've heard all day.
Well, look, the best news is he's okay, and it could have been it could have been worse. I mean, I think he clearly got this condition for playing lacrosse, and if it wasn't for football, we wouldn't have known it. So it's a good thing that he played football, so we can understand he needed to have his appendix taken out. But
I'm trying to follow that, knowing that he had appendicitis and had his appendix removed, and not wanting to violate any HIPAA laws. Anyway, we give Joey a hard time. He's got the flowing locks, and I give him a hard time being a lax bro, but he really is a tough kid, and God, he's another one. Just his story of when I got here, he's a kid that thought he was a quarterback, I guess, or been forced to play quarterback. He played some linebacker. He was a very, he was average everything. I mean, size, speed, athleticism, and a kid that just worked and worked and worked, and he grew, and he's smart as a whip, and he understands our schemes on both sides. He doesn't play just both sides. He plays about 3 positions on both sides. It's very confusing on defense, especially to keep track of what his position is.
Yeah, he's been amazing, and he's had a great year, and he just keeps getting better. And he's hard. He's a kid we really can't replace. But the best thing is he's okay. He had some stomach issues for a couple of weeks. There's been a lot of stuff going around, flu type stuff, and I think he's got a doctor at home that I think advised him he probably need to suck it up, Buttercup, and take some laxatives or whatever.
We got one of those in our household too.
Right, but he come to find out he had some abscess in there, had to have his appendix removed, and I think that all went well.
That's good.
He's recovering. Hopefully, get home today. Man, we miss. It's not the same not having him in practice even. That's a hole that's gonna be tough to fill. The kid that's got to step up, the Sullivan's Island kid. I think he's kind of like Joey, probably a soft kid that doesn't do a lot of physical stuff. And
man, if you think the Mount Pleasant kids are soft, the Sullivan's Island kids.
I really was happy yesterday the way Dana. It seems genuinely excited for the opportunity, and he's going to have to step up. He's done a great job blocking, and that's one of the things that Joey gets undervalued on. Is you see his athleticism, but he's been a great blocker for us. Dana actually probably blocks with more physicality. I mean, he really will stick his pad on you. Joey was more smart, technique, angles, and leverage, finesse. Would be physical, but Dana just goes and rock heads it, which
that's
is
who he is.
Yeah, and which is going to be great. He's going to do fine, and we're excited. We got somebody again. You saw another sophomore ready to step up. I think he's ready. So a big opportunity for him this week.
So defense might be more of a challenge. I know next week, of course, you'll be facing Woodland at Woodland, and they've got a couple of really tall and accomplished wide receivers.
That's this week, actually.
What did I say?
You said next week.
Well, it's this coming Friday, just to avoid
we are live,
confusion.
Right?
We're always live. Yeah, we don't. I don't edit these things. It's this Friday.
This week we play the tall receivers. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt your flow.
Okay, Woodland, tall receivers. Joey's out. I think he was. I'm just guessing here that he was going to play some role in containing those guys. So what are you going to do?
We don't know.
You got
any ideas?
Well, I don't know. You got a tall receiver.
They got too
number
many.
8. Maybe he'll play some defense. I'm just guessing here.
Cyber at their AD and coach, they watch these things, so we don't want to give away our secrets.
Well,
No, look, here's the deal. They got a 6'6" kid committed to Virginia, and he might be their third best receiver. That's number 13. Number 8, number 9,
Wow.
11. 4 is a great running back. 1's another really good running back. 6, a quarterback, can throw it. He can run it. He's got a big arm. They're big up front. I mean, this is a very good high school football team, and they're explosive, akin to a Gray. I don't think they have I think number 4 from Gray was. That kid might be on a different level than about anybody we've seen, but they've got this team is loaded with with athletes and skilled guys that can run, throw, catch, jump. I mean, it's our defense has its work cut out for them.
Now, you have some familiarity with Woodland, though, even though you didn't play him in the regular season. You did scrimmage against him. How does that play into your game planning?
I mean, not much. I mean, we in a scrimmage, we don't ever show anything. We're very vanilla, and I think they probably were too. They played too high zone against us. We watched a little bit of film we've got. They're covered 0. They just man you up and get in your face, and they've got the athletes to do that. So they could do either or both. I think offensively they're multiple. They can do. They run it well, but they like to throw it. So. I mean, we've got to be prepared for a lot. It's not an easy week of preparation. If you're playing Andrews, playing Whale Branch, I mean, hey, this is pretty much what they do. You got to be prepared always for something a little different. But I mean, these guys are kind of like us that offensively that they can line up a lot of different ways with a lot of different things. So it's Coach Jackson and his staff has a work cut out for them this week.
Of course, if fans look at the records, they'll see that Woodland has lost 3 games. I think Orangeburg, Wilkerson was one of them.
Wilkerson or Wilkinson?
Wilkinson. I've never been able to say that right.
You must be from Bamberg or something, or Barnwell maybe you said.
Allendale.
Close enough.
Allendale is right there by Barnwell, though. If we play Barnwell,
is it Barnwell?
It's going to be a tough one for me.
It's Barnwell.
It's Barnwell, and they are the war horses. Okay, don't make the mistake of calling them the war horses. No. They are the war horses.
War horses.
Yeah, but anyway, that we get ahead of ourselves.
Coach Jackson calls them Burnworld.
The
first time we were watching film last year, and he said, "Coach Grier, look at Burnworld over here." I said, "Who?" He said, "Burnworld." I said, "What is a Burnworld?"
Oh, that's great. That is classic.
I started doing
that. I would not.
I started doing a word of a day with Coach Jackson, and we had a great list on the whiteboard and it got erased. I'll never be able to recreate it because there's so many great things he says. It's just, I mean, almost a daily basis, I get something that just makes my day. Burnworld was high up there.
Well, gosh, now I forgot what the question was. Yeah, you look at their record and they've lost 3 games. That would, somebody who looks at records and doesn't consider your defaults realizes that you've won 11 out of 11 games that you played on the field. And they've lost 3, so the Las Vegas guys are saying you're favored. What do you say to them?
I'd say that it really, in high school, in any football, but especially football, matchups matter a lot. And this is a tough matchup for us. By the way, they lost to Somerville in a game which they threw for a gazillion yards and were up. I think they faded in the second half. They had about 6 guys out. That game didn't play. That's one of the things that Woodland's been challenged with all year is they've rarely had a game where they've had their entire team. They had, I think, 5 or 6 out against Barnwell. They had
war horses.
Had a lot of guys out that game. They had, and then they actually schemed very different that game. So I mean, that was kind of a weird loss. And then the Orangeburg Wilkerson. I don't know anything about that game. What happened to it? But
I'm not sure whether it's Wilkinson or Wilkerson. Actually,
it's Wilkinson.
There's an N, not an R. I should know that because I grew up here.
There.
But go ahead.
You grew up here.
We digress. South Carolina here, the low country, the poor part of the state. That's where I grew up. Anyway.
And you done good for yourself. Now you live on Sullivan's Island.
Yeah, well, you never know. But, Coach, on the injury front, we talked about.
Y'all got a pool?
We do.
I was just thinking,
where's this going?
You got a pool, pond? Yeah, pond's good for you.
We call it the cement pond, but yeah. So
maybe you have to stop by there sometime.
Yeah, come give Hank some swimming lessons over there. He would love it.
You're missing my Caddyshack reference. You didn't get it. The whole thing was Caddyshack.
Really?
You missed it.
This whole show has been Caddyshack, and I didn't even know
that little pool thing. But you missed it.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I saw Caddyshack. But back to the subject matter of injuries going into this ball game, other than Joey, of course, we're wondering about Mickey. We're wondering about Carson. I think you mentioned somebody else was having some issues.
George's been sick. He practiced yesterday. Michael McCoy's been sick, coughing a lung up, it sounds like, during practice. But and he won't. I keep sending him home. He won't go home. But I think he's going to be okay. Justin Horry has been out. He had surgery on his finger. He's been out from the beginning of the playoffs. And that's a big loss. He was a terrific, gave us great depth. And
another sophomore.
Another, but a great sophomore defensive lineman. So we've been down without him.
That's a pretty long injury list. I'm not sure we've gone into a game with that many.
We've been so fortunate throughout the year with that, and we've definitely taken some hits. Blaine Throckmorton's out. He had a shoulder surgery last year, and he's tweaked it again. I think he's getting an MRI, trying to get an opinion if he has to have that redone. So that's another receiver depth that a really good athlete, fast twitch kid that was doing a lot for us in special teams and on offense. So it's but that's part of the game, and it's a big part of again developing a program, not developing 12, 15 kids, but developing everybody we have, so that next man up mentality can be something real, and our kids have done a great job of being next man up.
So, Coach, of course, we're all very concerned about Coach Nate Green, and could you give us an update?
So, it's he's on a journey that's it's not linear. I mean, it's a little bit of a roller coaster, a lot bit of a roller coaster. And he, when I went and saw him last week, he was doing really, really well. Was excited to get out. Really thought he was going to be able to be at the game. We had ordered some shirts, to kind of surprise him. The kids all wore for pregame. It said Nate Strong on the back. Took a little turn for the worse, having some kidney problems and was in a lot of pain. They kept him in the hospital. He's hoping it might be today, potentially today or tomorrow, that we could get out. So we're hoping for the best with that. But he needs lots of prayer, and boy, the community, our football family, and really the whole school community is rallied around him, and I know that lifts him up. But he's not out of the woods. It's going to be a battle. And I told him, I said, I believe that no matter what, he's going to get out of this. It's just going to be a tough journey, and just like we talk about with the kids. I mean, life isn't fair, but you look adversity in the eyes, you stare it in the face, and say, "Let's go, bring it on." And Nate's doing that, and he's going to get through this. But so thankful for even the faculty here. I mean, Miss Boone, one of the teachers that does a lot in our athletic office to help drive the cheerleaders or volunteer to work the gates. I mean, she does a ton, but very typical of the family we have, the environment in our school. It's not just the football family, it's the teachers, it's the administrators, it's the students, but she's done a lot to help with Nate and communicating, coordinating resources. The Powells, I don't want to overstep, but just what they're doing for Nate is above and beyond, and very humbling to see so many people reach out and care for Coach Green.
We live streamed the game from Well Branch last week, and one of the great things about being able to do that is for somebody like Coach Green who just can't get to the game and really would love to be there to be able to follow it. And so, we're glad to be able to do that, and this week we'll also be live streaming. Don't know what kind of signal we'll have from Woodland, but we'll do our best.
Well, you'll get. I tell you, the Woodland, the principal called yesterday. In fact, I tell Miss Corley. I think they're like their AD and principal have a great relationship, and he's been telling me that the principal each week makes a little video with the school about whoever they're playing. He was so concerned. He said, "Make sure you know that we're not trying to be disrespectful to Oceanside." I said, "Man, send me the video." I said, "My principal will make one back and send it back to you." I mean, so it's some kind of like just school spirit kind of thing. Probably making fun of us being land sharks, but he said something about I don't think that sharks survive in the woods, that kind of thing. But fun stuff. And I told him I'd send him some stuff. We talk a lot, but AD and I have become friends, and in fact, he's taking me to breakfast tomorrow at Okra Grill, which I'm excited about. But he asked me if I need anything. I said, "Yeah, I need one thing. It's really important." I said, "I need your marching band to play on our side for at least a half a game." And he didn't. What? I said, "I'm serious." And then I ultimately negotiated down. Just give me the drums for a quarter, or He said, "Coach, our band lines up and gives us a tunnel for pregame." I said, "Well, how about this? Let us go through the tunnel first, and then y'all could go behind, and then we'll just leave it at that." But, I'm gonna. Yeah, maybe if I buy breakfast tomorrow, maybe he'll go for it. We'll find out.
Well, hopefully they'll give us permission, and we'll get that done. On to wrestling, I guess. We've covered football pretty thoroughly. You know, I was
Are
reading.
you following what's going on?
Well, you know, I was reading an article this week about how this kid claims to be the best wrestler in the world, and I can't remember his name. But Dusty Rhodes' son, Cody. I was going to say Cade.
Well, he's a different.
The fact that I read an article about
that's what I was going to say. That's impressive. Yeah. Cody was
Trying.
kind of becoming an afterthought in WWE, and now he's gone off to a different promotion and having success. That's great, and that's a good little up and coming promotion there. But the big news in the major leagues of wrestling. Is NXT, man. They're trying to take every time you turn on Raw or SmackDown now, they're just coming out of the stands and back, and they're jumping the guys and creating chaos. I don't know, man. It's like they're trying to sell tickets for a pay-per-view or something. I don't know.
Well, it's hard to believe something like that could be so real.
It's amazing. I mean, in the beatings, it's been some beatdowns.
How those people survive getting hit over with they still hit people over the head with metal chairs like they used to when I was a kid.
Back, stomach. That's tough. These are some tough dudes now.
Yeah. Now I know where you get your training techniques for your football team.
Yeah, right.
All right. Any concluding thoughts?
No, I think the fact that you introduced the wrestling segment this week, I appreciate that very much.
I got you, man.
That's good.
All right. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll have a big crowd. We did have a really big crowd, I thought, at Whale Branch.
We did. And to clarify, we've been so terrified of violating any,
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the noisemakers.
So come to find out that we are indeed allowed to have noisemakers at football games. So I went to sometimes, most of the time after games, we try to go have a quick few minutes together and celebrate, and little local dog and duck we end up going to, and the Powells happen to be in there with the Kepleys and the Ashleys, and nobody's in there. Small late night crowd because it's late coming back, and man, this air horn goes off, and I'm like, what? They took the air horn in. They said we couldn't use it at the game, so we're going to use it here to celebrate with. They're so much fun, but I got a feeling that we'll have plenty of cowbells and air horns, and our crowd's been great. I do want to say how much we appreciate how well we travel. We've had more people, I think, at the playoff games than the host teams, and
you did.
I'm expecting a big crowd for Friday night. Hope we get more of our students out. I want them to enjoy what's going on. It's a great ride for our kids and our team, but love the support we have in general from all of our parents and the community family, and that's a big part of it. I mean, the kids, man, we know what we hear it. The kids feed off of it. It's a big part of the game.
Oh, just one more thing. Broader picture on the playoffs. Barnwell's playing Timberland. What do you think?
It's going to be interesting. I'm a big Art Craig fan, and that'd be fun to play them again. It'd be just as fun to play somebody we haven't played before. Preparation would be easier for us for Timberland because we're so familiar with them. Barnwell, I don't have any film on. I haven't seen play. I take that back. I saw them play against Burke. They're very, very good. I mean, they're undefeated, and for a reason. They've got a couple of D1 linemen, a linebacker that's terrific. The quarterback is they can get the wishbone. They can go 3-by-1 and throw it around. They're a very, very good football team. So that's going to be a heck of a game. But right now we just got to beat Woodland. That's all. It won't matter if we don't. So.
Yep. And if we beat Woodland, of course, we would play the winner of that Barnwell Timberland game the day after Thanksgiving, and that would still be a 7:30 p.m. game.
Oh yeah.
Not to look too far ahead, but people want to play in.
Yeah. Well, look. Hopefully we get a win, and we're practicing with the expectation we're going to win, and we'll have a Thanksgiving morning practice, which is a very cool thing to do. Very few people in the country get a chance to do that. Take pride in getting that Thanksgiving morning walkthrough, and that'll be a fun thing. And
seriously, you're saying that's going to be a really fun thing?
Oh yeah.
All these guys, not going to be at home eating turkey.
Maybe not going to be
not
at home.
Able to get on.
You
the
eat
road,
turkey in the morning?
See grandma. They're out there marching around on the field.
You do live on Sullivan's.
Yeah. See why
have you forgot where you came from? Have you forgot? At Allendale, I guarantee you, they love me practicing on Thanksgiving morning this year. I guarantee you.
There's no question about that. But they don't have to deal with playoffs very often in Allendale.
Well,
which makes me appreciate it all the more. Coach, thanks so much, and good luck on Friday.
Okay.